Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Summer School. Today, we're here with a really fun guest who also happens to be a summer school member, and we're going to be chatting about all things community, which is really fun because one, you're in the community, but also you are in community. Like you presented me with this idea, and I was like, this sounds like a really fun conversation. But before we dive in and you learn everything about Alex and everything about community, I just need to shout out our sponsor really fast. Narrative AI is our sponsor of this podcast, and they do all things from blogging, culling, editing, and all of those are integrated with AI. They're my favorite software for anything of that sort. So if you haven't tried Narrative, go ahead and click in the description, in the show notes, wherever you're listening to this, and go ahead and try it out for a free month below. Okay, so Alex, I'm so stoked that you're here. Alex, if you don't know her, the Instagram handle by Alex Nena. I know her more by her Instagram handle. This is one of our first times actually chatting, which I'm so excited for. But I'd love if you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your business, and why community is important to you.
Yeah. So I'm Alex. You already said that, but I'm a wedding photographer. I do elopements. I'm really inspired, like vintage, very vintage. I love the low light stuff. And I just that's my area that I say that I'm in. For community though, I think it was like a really important thing to bring up just because we're not like meant to do this life alone. And so I feel like it's important to remind people, especially in our industry, that like it's so freaking important. And like I get the competition, I get all that. But I think like above all else, it's like definitely more important to like have like a community, which I feel like why I love summer school is because like people are literally like paying to have that at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it's just like closer knit. Like the things that you teach and whatnot and the things we have access to. And so I just feel like there's such an importance like on that subject. And so I guess that's my take on it.
I want to know for community with you specifically, how has it like changed your life, both professionally and personally? Like being in community, being someone that's passionate about being in that and wanting to tell everyone about how important having community is, what do you feel like you've actually seen change in your life, both personally and professionally? Because I feel like it solves such different issues and areas in all of our lives. But I think it can sound weird to admit how community benefits your business, but at the end of the day, it does. So I think it could be cool to kind of hit on.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I guess I would go back to when I first started photography. I started because I was going to school for PT and physical therapy, and you need to do prerequisite art. And I suck. I can't draw. I can't do anything like that. And so basically, I took a photography class, fell in love with it, and obviously, I didn't know where to begin. And when I was messaging people who I saw were more into the industry, they're more established, I wasn't getting really much response. And that kind of sucked because I just felt lost until I ran into like a photographer after a friend's wedding. Buba Vowels, right?
Yeah, I don't know her personally, but I know of
Yeah,
of her. Yeah.
of her. Yeah. So she was shooting my friend's wedding, and I just kind of talked to her after she was off, and she gave me some good advice just for free. Just gave me advice, and I feel like that really helped me, and it changed the way I was thinking already from being like I was lost, and I finally had a little bit of information, and then I took that and I ran with it, and then I did a what's it called? Retreat.
Yeah.
Yes. I did a retreat, and it was awesome. The photographer who put it on, she had a heart for new people. And I feel like that's even where I got it too, because I'm like, whenever I get there, I can't wait to help. And so I feel like personally it's helped me with the people who helped me. That's helped me gain confidence. Like it helped me just have like information in general, like even the most general like photo information, camera stuff, what to buy, what not to buy, what SD card's better, or batteries, don't get this, but like, it's just like the little stuff. And so, yeah, I feel like personally too, it kind of built my confidence because you have someone in your corner that's like always pushing you, and they're in the same corner as you. Like
Mm.
you guys understand each other. You get the ups and downs of the industry and stuff. And so I feel like that's definitely been how it's impacted me for sure.
Mm. Would you say that it's had any like direct impact on your business as well? Like, have you seen any direct, maybe mm, positive, whether it be inquiries that have come through from people that you've met at these different things, or, building community in different ways that you feel like has also very positively affect your business?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say even like the friends that I've made during that retreat, we're still close, and we refer like, oh, if I'm not
Mm.
available, here's my girl like Marlon. And um yeah, I feel like it's definitely impacted business. It's helped business.
Hmm.
And yeah, I would definitely say yes, 100%.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I have to selfishly plug real fast because she mentioned a retreat that I haven't talked about summer camp in months. And we are having summer camp. So, you guys, if you want to go to a retreat and you're like, that sounds really cool, sorry to just selfishly plug this right now. But summer camp,
No,
May
do it,
11th through the
girl.
15th, you guys should come. I think we have 5 spots left. And the first 15 filled up like within 2 days of launching, and then I just never talked about it again. So if you want to come, you should come. It's going to be really fun. I had calls today about it, and there's some really fun crazy surprises that are going to be a part of summer camp. And so, summer camp, if you don't know, it is up to 20 people, sleeps 30 on site. And we are staying on site of like a high end wedding venue that is new to the Columbia River Gorge, which is one of the most beautiful places in the PNW. So, if you want to come and experience things, we'll have live film developing and scanning, emulsion lifts, shoots, and just a really good time on a really beautiful property. And I do think it'll be a lot different than a lot of workshops out there, that it's pretty hands-on, which I don't think is super common. So yeah, if you want to join us, I'll like try and drop a link in the description, you guys.
Go to summer school. I would go if I didn't
Yes.
have my little daughter with me.
I know. I'm like, I want Alex to come.
I want to
Oh
go
my
so bad. I
gosh.
like looked at the description. I was like, dude, because the retreat I went to is like they're great. So if 100%, if they're listening and they wanted to go,
Retreats
definitely
are so
go.
fun, and every single one is so different. I mean, some of them can be scary. I don't know. I think it is hard sometimes when you don't know what to expect, which is basically every retreat ever. You know what I mean?
Right.
But definitely this one will be good. I will make sure that you guys are taken care of. We have a good chef, which was like one of my number one things, because I think when you spend like 5 days with artists and you're doing art the whole time and then you're eating like pizza, is not good. We don't want to do that to you guys. So
Personal
we'll have good
chef.
food, all the things. But man, how do you feel like community personally shifted your experience in the industry? It sounds like it was such a positive, because you went from, I think I want to do this, and then you met Beba and it was like, no, yeah, like I can do this. How do you feel like it shifted your experience in this industry, and like is shifting your experience in the industry? Like, what would you say for someone listening who's maybe scared to go out there and make friends? Or I always tell people, if you don't have a community near you, one, you can join summer school, but two, literally just make one. Like, you can just say, hey guys, I do this, I'm in this area. Who wants to get coffee? Also, if you put that on Threads, people will come. The people on Threads want to meet up. So if you feel alone, just know, stop waiting for it to happen and just make it. Just do it. Just do it
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I feel like people are more hesitant because even for me personally, like I've been seeing on TikTok a lot, like photographers saying like, don't message me like random questions. Like you have to build a relationship with me first. Like I'm not going to give you all my gear, or just there's a lot of put down on that side. And at least from what I've seen, everyone's algorithm is so different, but I think because I fully listen to them, it like just gives me more of that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would say ignore all that because, for example, for me, whenever I see a video like that, I just comment, "Hey, if you have any questions, hit me up. I'm an open
Mm,
book," because I don't want anyone to feel like there's no help out there and that you always have to pay for it. Of course,
mm,
there's courses and stuff and people's knowledge that you would pay for and whatnot. And But honestly, like, I would just say ignore all that, because there are people out there who want the exact same thing that you do and that would love that. Like you said, post on threads, people will show up. Why? Because people want that too. Nobody wants to like be alone and like thrive on their own. And I feel like we can thrive like alongside people the most. Like that's when you like thrive the most. And there could be some like negatives to it, like, you know, comparison and whatnot. But altogether, I feel like build your own community, like you said, if it's not already there for you.
Hmm.
But yeah, don't be afraid just because there's people out there who are who don't want you to message them. Like, just don't message them. Then, you know, go message somebody else. Keep trying, because if I stopped trying and I never talked to like Biba after that wedding, or like I never reached out to Kate, you know, about her retreat and whatnot, then I would probably be in the same place. You know,
Hmm.
I wouldn't be growing. And yeah, I'm a like firm believer that like growth is with more people, not just on your own, because then you
Hmm.
don't have anything else to like outside of your own brain. You know,
Yeah,
it's
you're
good
just
to
in like an
have.
echo chamber of your own artist thoughts, which that can't be good. You're never going to
Yeah.
grow that way, you guys.
No, especially with like all our people. It's like, you know, they all are scared of like the imposter syndrome, or when they're in it, they're in it. And you need people to like pull you out of that and just kind of like,
Mm.
nah, you're good. You're
Hmm.
good. Your work is amazing. Like, keep pushing. Like, what's inspiring you? What doesn't inspire you? What do you feel like you're struggling with? And they
Mm.
will understand because they're in the same industry, you know, and they're in the
Mm.
same, they love the same thing that you do.
Mm. Do you ever feel like you surround yourself with too many of your people? I actually didn't even have this as a thought I was originally going to ask you, but it popped into my head. And where I'm going with this is that sometimes, or at least what I ended up doing in LA that I really liked, was I built a girls group and none of them were photographers. Well, I mean, some of my wedding photographer friends were like, welcome to come. But somehow I ended up having this girls' night, and it happened almost every Wednesday, and it was crazy. We'd do crafts. We made like the necklace I'm wearing, and it was so good for me to be surrounded around people who had no idea what I did and could care less. Like, honestly, they could care less, and it was weirdly like liberating. But at the same time, you need the photo community too. You need the creatives.
Mhm.
But have you ever felt like personally you've experienced that where you're like, oh wait, I need to make sure I'm prioritizing community in my personal life as well as my business, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm around too many photographers.
No, honestly, I don't feel like I'm around too many photographers. I feel like although I have like community, like the close knit where like I really want to like deep dive into my business
Mm.
with. That's kind of like on the smaller end. But yeah, I mean I go to church, so we have like a small group every week, and I feel like that's where I
Mm.
kind of like fill my cup with the like they don't have no
Yes.
idea. I mean, my friend Steph, she is a photographer too, and she's in that group too. But we don't talk about it. Really, no, don't.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I used to joke and say that my girls' night was like Bible study without a Bible, because it really was. Like, since when are like women in their 20s to maybe near 40 just gathering once a week?
Right.
I mean, I guess for girls' night, which was crazy. It was a fun time.
Yeah, it sounds
I
like a
did
lot of
want to
fun.
hit on comparison though, because I think, oh gosh, but also you guys, I had a story to tell you that I totally forgot. The note that you were hitting on of paid learning.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like that actually goes into why I do some of the things I do and why we now have summer school, which is such a low ticket item. Because when I was getting into photography, not similar story like Beba helped you, but it was not a similar story actually. I reached out to someone in our local area and I was like 19, you guys. And I was like, I think I might want to do wedding photography. And they were a wedding photographer, like the best one in town, you know? And they were cool, hip. We knew each other. We were friends, I guess, you know, kind of. And I asked, like, hey, could I, like, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I was new. Like, I didn't know anything. I didn't know etiquette. I didn't know what I should or shouldn't say. I just knew that maybe I wanted to do wedding photography and this person did wedding photography. And their response, so funny. I hate it. Their response was basically, you could pay me like $3,000 and I could do a mentor session with you. this was also a while ago. $3,000 back then is crazy. I mean, even
Right.
$3,000 right now for a mentor session, I think is a little crazy.
Yeah.
You could do a 1 hour call with me for like, I don't know, a couple $100. I don't know, something like that, like $300 to $500. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that that's cheap, but I am saying $3,000 is crazy. And
That's an investment.
and I was like, dude, I'm 19. I don't even know if I want to shoot weddings. I just want to know what's it like. Like, can I pay you to carry your bags? Like, I just want to know. I had only ever been to one wedding in my lifetime, and it was like my cousin's wedding, and I think I went to half of it. So I didn't even know what a wedding was like. What is a real wedding? What is a cool wedding like?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? How does this run? I wasn't invited into the bridal side of things with my like second cousin's wedding. So that was so discouraging, and I was actually like low key bitter. And then like 2 years later, they wanted me to second shoot for them, and I was like, gosh, I don't know, man. Um, and they were like, hey, so I can do this mentor session with you. It's like $3,000 or $3,600, and I'll help you make your website. And I was like, I just want to know what a wedding day is like. So, advice for anyone listening, honestly, maybe there are going to be people like that, and it might hurt your feelings. That's just life. You know what I mean? And I don't even think I support that kind of education. If one of you reached out to me right now and was like, hey, I don't know if I want to do weddings, but I'm kind of curious. Could you give me some advice? One, I'd probably just give you advice. Two, I would not charge you $3,600. But if someone did, just know there's plenty of people out there that wouldn't. And just know that people like even myself, I would be so open minded. And maybe it's because of my experience, but I would be so open minded to someone if they said, hey, I want a job shadow. Like, I just want to like can I carry your bags or like take BTS content for you? Like, would I be open minded to a second shooter? Maybe not, because my second shooters have to like fully shoot a wedding day.
Mhm.
But would I be open to like a third or like a lighting assistant or a film assistant? Honestly, yes. Like I would. And so if you're curious and you want to get started and you're listening to this and you want to just experiment with different things, like think about reaching out in ways like that, because I'm sure that I'm not alone in the fact that I would say yes to that. I'm sure
Mhm.
there's other people that would say yes too. But I still
Yeah,
think it's
I would
crazy.
totally say yes. Like every
Yeah.
time I've had people like message me and ask for a mentorship and how much do I charge, and for me, and you know who's actually really good about this? Jake.
Mm.
Jake's like
Mm.
so good about this. He sends me like 5-minute long like voice memos, and he just is like, if basically he doesn't think there's like a really science to it. I can only tell you what I
What he
did and what
does.
I
Yeah.
know and what he did and what he knows, and then hope, that it might
Help.
help, but people have come to shadow me, and second shooting, yes, I totally understand that, because second shooting is really important. We actually use like those images for like day of, um but yeah, there's so many people out there who are willing to help. I think just social media kind of sometimes can come off
Taint.
negative, like in our space, and
Well, and
and
it can happen. It happened to me,
yeah.
off of a nice person. But I think maybe in hindsight, I guess I could have communicated differently. But I also don't know. I still think to this day that was kind of crazy. I was so young. That would have been so much for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if you didn't even know, like, you're like,
I
I
didn't
just
even know
need
if
to
I wanted to shoot
see.
weddings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I
like, I
just
might
want
as
to
well make
know
a post like, can I go to your wedding for free? Like,
for
just I
free.
won't eat. I'll just be there looking.
I
Like, I
will
just want to
pay
see what's
you
up.
to attend your wedding.
Yeah.
I will pay you to be in your bridal party. I'm kidding,
Yes.
but
Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah, I hope that there's not the thing is it happens to everyone is basically what I'm saying. So if you reach out to someone and you happen to land a dud and they're not that friendly, just know it happened to me too. And here we are now and everything's fine. And there's plenty of resources. Or if you're not in summer school again there, you can message me anytime. But we did want to talk about comparison. And because I feel like when you surround yourself with community, it
Mhm.
also can lead to comparison. Do you personally feel like being surrounded by lots of other photographers has led you to comparing yourself or your work more? Or do you feel like it's only had more of a net positive?
Unfortunately, I will say it has gotten me to be more like comparing.
Mm,
But I'm just learning every time that it's like we have different styles, we have
mm,
different clients, we run our business like differently, so I guess like taking their advice with like a grain of salt almost, because take it, and if you want to run with it, go for it. But at the same time, like don't let it take your joy and your love for like your own work. Because I will
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, I would say it does, comparison does come, because you can see like one of their shots, or they show you a gallery. I know my friend has showed me like a gallery, and I'm like, dang, because we went to New York together, and she showed me pictures and whatnot, and they're amazing, and I was just a second, but I didn't get like those same amazing shots. But it's like, whoa, 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 wait, back up a second. Like, that's her wedding. Like, I know
Mm-hmm.
you, like, you're a second shooter, like, it's fine. So comparing like that, it's just a downward spiral. And I think it's important to like constantly remind and be like, okay, we're different. Like, we shoot differently. Her and I cannot take the same picture.
Mm-hmm.
You can't copy paste somebody else. Like, you see it with like all the inspo boards. People have all these inspo boards. You cannot copy paste that picture ever again, because in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, like, that's when they took it. That's their work. And so yeah, I would say like comparison is inevitable when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to that, especially if you're good friends with people in photography and in your industry. But if you're good at reminding yourself and like putting emotions aside, being a little bit more logical, I think, it can be a positive too, you know?
Mm. I actually think let's be vulnerable real quick. I have been experiencing uh, comparison issues probably more in the last 9 months than in my entire career, which
Mm.
is interesting and challenging. One of the things that I feel like helped me a lot work through it was actually just being honest with the people. If they're your friend, like being honest with the people about what the issue actually is. Like for me, it's a lot different. It wasn't like comparing my photos, but maybe comparing our businesses or opportunities we're getting, and having those honest conversations was so much better for me than like living in a state of resentment or in a state of
Mm.
even jealousy or in a state of comparison. Like whatever that feeling is, that being surrounded around people who are succeeding is, we know that we want to feel good for our friends and we want to be proud of them. But at the end of the day, we are all human and we're all going to
Yes.
experience emotions that are hard sometimes. One of the best things I've done is definitely talk with those people. And even if I still feel strange, the fact that for me at least, I have had that conversation and been like, hey, this is how I feel about this. And it's like just such a more rewarding thing when you're vulnerable with those around you, especially if you're all growing together and you're growing at the same time. They can actually
Mm.
support you through it instead of you feeling like you're alone in those feelings or thoughts. I'm not saying go tell some random person your issues, but if you do find yourself comparing yourself to your community or your friends, I think sometimes being vulnerable in that area can be very powerful and very like liberating. So,
Yeah. Have you ever, this is like a question for you. Have you ever helped someone, but then was like vulnerable with them? And they're like, oh,
mm,
I didn't even think you struggled with that. And then you're like,
mm,
shoot, I just had that experience where I helped out just someone, and they're like, oh, really? Like, that you struggle with that? Or I
mm,
wouldn't think that. And I feel like that's how a lot of people perceive some photographers. It's like, oh, they're getting booked out and they're amazing and they don't struggle with anything. And it's like, no, we all struggle in the same areas that everybody else does. And
mm-hmm.
from like beginner to like super advanced. Have you ever had that happen where you're like vulnerable and they're just kind of like, oh, I didn't know that you would even struggle with that?
I feel like probably even what I just said, people were probably like, I'm sure people listening were probably like, oh, shoot, Summer also compares herself. That's crazy. I'm sure, I'm sure that people probably assume that. But I think also I do feel decently vulnerable. I'm like, if people listen to the podcast, I feel like they kind of know a good bit about me. But yeah, I mean, definitely in like a day to day, if I were to share even about some of the things I've struggled with or things I've gone through in the industry or like some of my mental health journey, I think definitely sometimes people are like, oh, shoot, I would have never expected that. That's crazy. Like for me, one of my main things and the reason I started elopements was because I could not, with like physical stimulation, handle like large crowds, loud noises. So things like a large destination wedding would have absolutely never crossed my mind that I would have ever shot that 6 years ago. And now that's basically the only thing I shoot. And sometimes when I tell people that story, they don't know that version of myself. A lot of people now don't even know that I started in the more naturey scene. They just have been introduced to me in the last like 2 years. And
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that you like shot like naturey couples photos." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's like where I started." But definitely like I think a lot of people can surprise you about a lot of things, and that's another reason I think it's so powerful to be like a vulnerable, honest person, because I think there's so much power in that, like just in vulnerability, like in people actually understanding people. I think there's so many like kind of egos and facades in our industry,
Mhm.
and I think there's a reason a lot of people feel alone sometimes, because there's not a lot of people being honest with their people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so
But
important to be, like, vulnerable. Like,
yeah.
a lot of people even say, like, educators and stuff that I've heard on podcasts, it's like, people should be able to know you also through social media, especially,
Mm.
like, even on a client-like basis. Like, they should see who you are already and, maybe don't post all your, like, business,
Yeah, don't like trauma dump you
stuff
guys, but
on yes, don't do that, don't do that. But yeah, I do. That's why I think it's important, even like circling back to like having a community, because I think when you're by yourself too, you can also push it on social media. You could
mm,
like push everything that you're going through or you're struggling with onto the social media, when you can kind of pivot and even talk to someone close to you about
mhm.
it. But yeah, don't keep it all in here. So be vulnerable and like and get your community.
And be honest. There's no reason to like lie or say that you're even doing better than you are, because say you need bookings, be honest, guys. I feel like you'll be more likely to get them if you're honest with your community about that, instead of like hiding. You know what I mean?
Yes, I've had community where like close friends, it's like I'm struggling to book, and then the story is like
I'm booked out.
only booking like 2 more weddings for the year, and I'm like, "What happened?" And even then, that if you're not honest, like even in that, the close friend stories and stuff, that can also deter other photographers from wanting to be in your community, in your circle, because it's everyone wants honesty, and that's that.
Mhm.
You got to be honest, vulnerable, and even when you're giving advice, being honest. Don't
Mm.
sugarcoat it. If your friend needs some help in some area, you know don't sugarcoat it. Just tell her or him what it is.
Mm. I will say, while I actually attribute myself to, I say this word and I'm like, I feel like one of my classic parts of myself is that I can be like toxically honest. I don't know if toxic honesty is a thing, but if it's a thing, I have it. And I wouldn't say it's a bad trait, but definitely in adulthood, I've had to learn like, okay, chill out, Summer. But definitely like, I can't lie. Like, I just can't. Like, if you ask me something, you guys, I'm going to tell you, but I'm not going to be mean. You know what I mean? I think there's a difference between being honest and being mean. And toxic honesty, I don't know if any of you relate with that, but definitely like hit me up or DM me if you do, because it is my toxic trait. Both, if it's a good and bad trait. Like, probably good for my parents that I couldn't really lie, but sometimes bad because I feel so obligated to share my thoughts, and sometimes I'm just shouldn't. I mean, maybe it's the reason I have a podcast, but sometimes I don't need to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been
Oh,
there. Sometimes I think about what I said and I'm like, dang, should I
that's
have
a little
said it like
intense.
that?
Yeah.
That was a little rough. I
I'm
don't
not
know
gonna lie,
about that one.
ChatGPT helps me sometimes now, because I feel like I run a lot of my thoughts through it before I say them,
You're
which
like,
is
how to
good.
say this nicer.
Nicer. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm.
Um, Man, I did have another question, because you did raise a point when we were chatting before the episode of kind of a long comparison, but also a long learning, that while you learn, it's also really good to stay focused on yourself. So I feel like it'd be
Mhm.
fun to kind of pivot towards that. How do you feel like you actually balance the learning, the community, while being focused on yourself and your own journey at the same time? Because I feel like it can be easy to get like washed out by the noise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like is it
Compartmentalizing.
compartmentalize? That's a tough word. Because I think learning on your own is like such a good thing. Like for example, I joined summer school and there's classes on there. And on my
Mm-hmm.
own, I'm learning. I just purchased the pull apart Polaroids. I just got a
No.
backing. No?
I mean, I know that that's a thing, but isn't that like really expensive? Is there like a cheaper version of this now? Hold up.
Ooh, I don't know if it was expensive, so I definitely went that route. But I basically got like a backing to the Mamiya,
Oh, that's
and
so baller.
I like built. I can build my own cartridges and like do the peel apart Polaroids, right? And so that's something that I'm learning on my own, and really like diving into like the structure and all of these things. And there's
You should teach
just,
a class on that in summer school one
oh
day.
my gosh, I would love to. And
That would be
it's
so
crazy
fun.
because it's so expensive
Yeah.
for the cartridge, like to build it on your own. You can buy it pre-built, but they're sold out. So they only sell like what they basically don't have to build, right? And it's like $100 and something. It comes from Austria.
You're
So
building it on your
like
Mamiya RB67, yeah?
it's the RZ67. It's like a backing.
Yeah.
So the
But
backing is like good.
that's the only camera I think those go on, right? Or
I think
the ones that you can
so.
buy pre-built.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would
Hmm.
say I think though you can get them pre-built, and then like the ones that they sell in Austria is like pre or not built, and you get
Hmm.
to do it on your own. But all that to say, I'm learning all that on my own, right? And YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff, that's all on your own. And I think like that's important
Hmm.
because and then community is important, and learning from them, that's important. But at the end of the day, making sure you're doing what you want to do and what you like want to learn and what you want to take. You don't have to listen to everyone, but it's important to have like those aspects, like learning on your own, focusing on yourself, making sure that you're not comparing too hard, because then it's just going to go downhill. So basically having boundaries and like compartmentalizing those areas.
And
Yeah.
when you're prioritizing your own learning outside of the funny part is in some like summer school it's like community and learning, but in most worlds outside of that it's like you have your friends and then maybe you have your things that you're learning, and in those kind of worlds when you're learning on your own as well, then you're going to
Mhm.
differentiate yourself from the group, which I still think
Mhm.
is important. You know, if you have your friends and say you guys all live in a similar area, it's good to learn on your own because then you'll separate yourself from the crowd. I'm not, this is just business advice at this point, but I definitely
Yeah.
think like continuing to pursue your own artistry, like the reason a lot of us are going to get booked outside of our personal brand is because there's something we can offer that maybe other people can't. So
Hmm.
definitely like keep pursuing your own growth. Like community, you're all going to grow so much faster and so much better together. But at the
Hmm.
end of the day, as artists, we need to make sure that we have our own distinct style.
Right. Yeah. And even in like people's learning, I know that like I have a friend who like will literally sit and just watch movies and like pause and like look at the framing, and that's their way of learning. Do I do that?
Mm,
No, but like that totally
no.
separates her and her composite, like the way she like composes like photos, and you can like tell.
Mm,
And so yeah, just definitely I would agree with you that just that's how you separate yourself, even just learning on your own. Like those peel apart Polaroids, I got inspiration from a guy in New York and Central
mm.
Park. He does them, and I was like, I want to do that too. And then it just like went down a rabbit hole. And I don't offer it or anything, but it's my own thing, and just learning
Imagine if you
more.
did, like once you feel like you really refine it, you end up offering it just during like a portrait section, like to a client. That could be kind of cool.
That could be cool. It's so expensive. It's only 8 shots, which is crazy.
And how much is it's not the same from what I'm thinking, which maybe we're thinking different things. This is not the same as just normal Polaroid film. It's peel
No,
apart film, right?
yes.
Which
So
is like expensive, like over $100. Am I wrong?
no, you are correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm
Yes.
like, I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same thing because I've researched it because I've seen I think Linus, he's in LA, Linus and his camera. I think
Mhm.
I've seen videos of him doing it. And then I think Carrie Ann's also in LA. Carrie Ann Older, for anyone listening, also super talented. I think I've seen her do it too. Therefore, I've gone down a rabbit hole of researching and I'm like, oh, well, that's very expensive. So
Yes.
what do you want to shoot first? Like, what do you think is going to be or have you already done a peel apart yet?
I haven't yet. I've been building the cartridges,
Mm-hmm.
and then emailing them too, because I don't want to mess them up because they're expensive. So I mess it up, then I just wasted my money. So the
Hmm.
first thing I want to do with them though is just like portraits of like people like really important. I have a boss. When I used to work at a restaurant, he also, that's another thing, community with that. I worked there since I was 17 years old, and I was done working there around 23. So I was there for a long time. He like watched me grow up and everything. And he bought me I just had like a 50, like a nifty 50. And he bought me like my 35.
Aw.
And he's the owner of that restaurant. And like, have you ever been to Lake Arrowhead? It's like up in the mountains, kind
Is
of
it?
by
It's
Big
kind of.
Bear.
I think I've been there. I think it's kind of small. There's a lake in the center. It's kind of cabiny. Am I wrong?
I think that might be Big Bear, but there's another similar thing like in Lake
Hmm.
Arrowhead. But anyway, there's a restaurant there, and I used to work there. And man, he bought that for me and just was like, "Here." He's all, "I believe in you, and I believe you're gonna do great." And he's like, "But you're gonna do free photos for the for the restaurant." And I said, "No worries, I can do that." And so yeah, that was even important. So I think I already reached out to him. Once I get it all figured out, I want to take a portrait of his family and frame it for him. And because the way they look is so nice, once they peel apart and stuff, they just look a little different. Um, and so yeah, I really want to start taking portraits of people that have helped or just are important to me,
Hmm.
and giving it as a gift, I guess.
I love that. I'm currently, and I think I've already mentioned this on a podcast, so sorry if it feels repetitive, guys, but I currently am also diving into something niche. It's not quite as expensive. I mean, definitely not as expensive, but I have been trying to do cyanotypes, which I need to buy a printer, so maybe that's where this can get more expensive. But cyanotypes have been kind of fun. I want to do a class in summer school soon, but I don't feel like I'm like the boss yet. Like it's been the last 2 months of me learning how to do this. So I will thoroughly admit to everyone, it is not time for me to lead a class in summer school on cyanotypes yet. But it's not that hard. And similarly, just like a fun side thing, I decided I want to learn how to do something. And it sounds fun to learn how to do. But if you're listening, cyanotypes, basically you like have two different chemicals, you mix them, you paint them on a I guess a piece of paper, you could do a tote bag, you do lots of different things, jeans. And cyanotypes is just a sun print. That would be another word for it. So they're
Oh.
normally blue. So if you've seen like blue prints, that would be, you can tone them and make them black and white, black tea and stuff. See, I want to learn all of that before I do the class. But I could have used a cardboard box, but I decided to be so extra and bought like a UV box on Amazon. So just like a black box, basically. I could have just used cardboard, but I decided I wanted to learn how to do it in the off season. So I did a couple in December. And the most challenging part for me was that to do them, you either need a printer, which we don't have, or I need to get things printed. So I literally made digital negatives and it was my first time doing it. And then I went to like a literal like print shop and I was like, haven't been to one of these in decades because now I order everything through Canva or like online. And they printed it, but they had to print it on the paper that you use. Well, I guess it depends on how old you are when you're listening to this, but the overhead projectors, how they would have the clear plastic and it would project onto the screen pre like smart boards, or I don't even
Yes.
know what they have in school now, but that was the paper I
Laptops.
had to buy. Yeah, do they even use like smart boards
I
anymore?
don't
Who
even think so.
knows?
I feel like they just have laptops. They don't even have like books and workbooks anymore. It's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy. But basically, I had to buy OHP paper, which is overhead projection paper, and then you print it onto that. And now I'm making it sound complicated because basically, if I had a printer, I could just load the paper in and like print straight on it. But it was such a complicated journey of me going to the print store, having them like custom size. I think I've learned if I want to do more of them, I need to just buy a printer. But anyways, that's my little side hobby of what I'm learning this year. I'm
And
sure
your
I'll be learning
emulsion,
other
right?
things. Yes, I've been doing emulsion lifts for like 2 years now though, and those are fun. And they're easier. Well, I don't know if I I don't know if I'd say they're easier than cyanotypes, but if you guys want to know a funny story, now I'm really rambling. Sorry, Alex. But if you want to know a
No,
funny
dude, you're
story,
good.
I recently did emulsion lifts in Tennessee during the imaging conference, which is just a large kind of trade show type photography conference. And I did it on behalf of Pick Time. So I was like there to do a little class so that hopefully people would come to the booth, all the things. I've never done emulsion lifts live in front of people except for at summer camp, because we do them at summer camp. It's really fun. Come to summer camp. But all of this to say, I looked for Polaroid film in my city, and because I don't live in LA anymore, I couldn't really find any. And then the only one I found, they were marking it up by like $8. And I was just, I should not have been a penny pincher, but I was, because I was like, Polaroid's already so expensive. I don't want to pay $8 more for it just because I live in Tacoma. It just felt wrong. So I didn't buy it. And I said, it's fine. I'm going to Nashville. Nashville's a bigger city than Tacoma. I'm going to buy my Polaroid film there. The whole city of Nashville had like no Polaroid film, you guys. So I finally acquire some. I feel like a little drug dealer for Polaroid film. I'm like, meet a film guy. He's like, let me see if my friends have any. Like, and then I somehow get a summer school student to drive me to like 5 different places to look for Polaroid film. And this would be so funny if Pick Time hears this. And then finally, I acquire some from another summer school member. His name is James Wolf. He's the best. And he was like, yeah, I bought this. I think when I posted a video on the Polaroid Lab one day back in the day, he's like, but I haven't really touched it. And I'm like, oh, shoot. The thing with emulsion lifts is the film has to be fresh. Like, if it's old, it won't lift. And if it does, it's going to be really challenging. So this film was like technically expired in 2024. And somehow I do end up getting an Amazon shipment. And I was like, well, I have 2024 expired film and an Amazon shipment. This is the night before I'm supposed to do the lift for everyone. The Amazon shipment was also expired, you guys. I had just ordered it and like I was so excited because it actually shipped in time. And, you know, I paid full price and it was also expired Polaroid film. And I was like, wow, okay, well, let's try and do a lift like from the hotel room in case I can't do it at the conference, because there's a chance I won't be able to do this in live action, you know?
That would be so bad. Oh my gosh.
Dude, it was freaking crazy. And I've never had this experience because at summer camp, we did it with like 15 people and people were doing multiple lifts. Like, it wasn't hard, okay? Me in this hotel room in the middle of the night, basically, the day before I'm supposed to do this live in front of people, it's taking me like an hour. I'm just like gently peeling it apart. And I spent at least an hour on just one lift. And praise God, I actually successfully lifted one image, but then at imaging, I was still expected to do it. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like, I'm a mic on. I'm like, well, we'll see what happens. And luckily, I think I successfully transferred one, but I put 4 images into the hot water. So yeah, if you know anything about Polaroid, it's a very expensive, like 2 days of my life of trial and error of expired film, but it actually was fun. The people that watched it were like, hey, that's what makes this cool, is that it's not easy and it is kind of a one of one kind of thing. You could never really get the same emulsion lift. I mean, you could try, but each Polaroid film is going to develop differently. So you technically could never duplicate it. Like AI could not, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my story time. It was a stressful 2 days. Like, I went to 5 stores looking for Polaroid film. Like, gone are the days of living in California when I could get anything I wanted at any time in my life.
Well, how weird though they didn't have any around.
I know.
Like, it's Polaroid. I feel like everyone does that. Like, everyone has Polaroid, like anything.
I was like panicked trying to like buy some from Target. Sold out. Everyone was sold out if they had it. And then most places just didn't even sell it. And I was like, wow, is Polaroid dying? Polaroid, maybe you should sponsor the podcast. I'm kidding. But
I should tell my brother he needs to be the link over there because he lives out there. He's also a photographer. Yeah, he's a photographer too.
Yeah, tell him they need to put more Polaroid in the stores out there, because that was the craziest like 2 days of my life of feeling like I was going to fail at something. And yeah, it was not ideal, but you know what? You win some, you lose some. And emulsion lifts aren't normally that hard. And if you haven't, there's actually a whole class on it in summer school. So you should watch it because you'd probably enjoy it since you like Polaroid.
Yeah, I looked at your video online on I think you posted it on your personal, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so tedious. Like, I was I was nervous. I'm like,
It's
wait,
actually not normally that hard.
how does she get like because it kind of like crinkles? I'm like,
Yeah,
how does
it
she get it
lifts. It
flat?
ends up
Like,
looking like a betta fish. It's wild.
yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how does she do that? But yeah, definitely. Have some catching up to do on summer school with all the classes and stuff.
I am just plugging it all the way, you guys here. I don't even normally do that, but it's kind of fun that you're inside now and you can go see all the things. But yeah, we filmed a 30-minute YouTube video style of emulsion lifts back when we lived in LA. So it was like top down camera. I felt very fancy. I don't normally do things like that. So it was a fun time. But um yeah, man, okay, back to community comparison, learning, but focusing on yourself. I want to know, being in community, to kind of wrap up a lot of this, has being in community, if we kind of tie in and wrap up with community and comparison, do you feel like being in community has helped with your comparison? Or wait. If you've been in community the entire time you've been in business, you might not even have the answer to this question. But I wanted to know, like, do you personally feel like being in community has helped your comparison journey and your artistic journey when it comes to comparing your work? Like, yes, you said, and I said, it can lead us to comparing ourselves to people. But I think overall, people, if they weren't in community and then they were in it, I think you would probably compare yourself less. But actually, I don't know. It might depend on your personality type. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I think it just depends on who you're surrounding yourself with, because
Yeah.
like the people I'm surrounding myself with, like my girl Sarah, she just slaps me and is like, shut up. Like, you do not even compare. Or she hypes me up or tells me like, hey, this could be better, So versus if you had someone in your like circle that was just like, I'm better than you, or like, why would you do that? Or
Mm,
so although community is important, it is like, to make
you need
sure
to
you're
find your
surrounding
people.
yourself with people who are good people, and who want to
Care
help
about
you,
you.
and like who care about you, and they're not out to get you, or you know
Mm,
because I feel like just don't get what you can get. Like, really find your community. Like, it's not just surround yourself with photographers. It's find
find your
your
people.
people. Yeah. So I would say it just depends. It depends on who you surround yourself with,
Mm,
because I mean, there's jealous people out there, and there's yeah, jealousy, and even their comparison might be really bad. And um sometimes people, what is that saying, like, misery loves company.
mm,
So I feel like that can happen too. So just like being wise, like, just have good discernment with that. Like, hey, maybe this person's not here for either of our best interests, and
mm,
just find those people. Because like I said, my friend Sarah, she's like very cutthroat with me, and in a good way. And
mm.
then like I have my friend Steph. She's like my very best friend. Like, we actually got together. Um, she was second shooting for me, like for one of my first weddings.
Mm.
And after that, we became like best friends. Like, she's my daughter's like godmom. and
Oh.
and so when I talk to her, it's more like analytical, but also like, hey, all right, we're like, that's enough. Like, you're fine. It's gonna be fine. We're good. Everyone goes through slow seasons, everyone this, everyone that. And so she really like puts into perspective, where like Sarah is like my slap in the face, So yeah, I would
Yeah.
say it depends on who you choose to be around you.
That's actually so true, even for myself. Also, if you guys were watching the YouTube video and you saw me jump, I just had a notification go off my ear and I had no idea that notifications were even on, which was so loud. So sorry for the jump scare. But yeah, even for myself recently with building things like summer school and educating maybe a little more than shooting, it's like I had all these photo friends. I had a lot of really good community in the photo industry. But in the educational space, oh my God, talk about cutthroat. I think a lot of people like want to be friendly, but a lot of them are maybe scared because maybe we have similar products. I don't know. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that side of the industry has been both really fun and kind of hard. But the really fun side is like, yeah, I have this group with two other, I'll just shout them out. I have a group with Joshua Huggett and Andrew Karen. It's like this funny, it's just a funny group that it's us three. And we just chat and we talk about life, or we talk about the things we're going through. And it's like the value in actually sharing knowledge and relationship with people in your industry in, yeah, like a kind way, like finding your right people. It's so valuable. Like I am like so pro. I mean, talk about like networking and stuff. Like I'm just so pro surrounding yourself with people that both inspire you and that you can inspire them as well. Like
Mhm.
it'll change your life. Genuinely, I think in-person relationships, in-person networking, I truly believe that is will be the thing that will change your business. If you're like, "Hey Summer, what should I do in 2026?" Network in person. That's my opinion, you know? But I
Yeah.
do want to note on that topic to kind of wrap us up. I want to know how you would suggest for someone, say I say in-person networking, if you wanted to suggest to someone how they could start trying to find their right people and it's not in-person networking or it's not things like summer school, what would you suggest people do? I know we technically said you could post something on Threads, but how did you personally we did hear that you went to a retreat and stuff, but if there was someone listening to this that's say new to the industry and does want to make some friends, what would be some tips you could give them on finding community right now?
Yeah, I would say, although TikTok says different, like reaching out, DMing.
Mhm.
Um, I just recently had a girl DMing. She just moved from, I can't remember where she moved from, but she's back in California in Irvine. And she's all, I just really want to dive back, like dive into a community here. Like I had a big community over there, and that I read it all and I responded, and we're going to go get coffee. And so
Amazing.
I think, I would say like DMing people, um, even people like you admire and stuff too. Like for example with Jake, like I just admired his work for a long time, and now like he takes our pictures for Christmas, and so
Cute.
we have like a different like relationship now, and it's funny too. And like if I post like ask me a question, yeah, ask like the most absurd non photo questions, and so yeah, just like reaching out to people that you admire, it can like even turn out to be like a cool friendship or like acquaintance. And yeah, even on TikTok, I even see it happen with the moms. Like the moms are on TikTok, like, hey, I want more moms here in like where I'm
Mhm.
from, like Redlands, and all these moms. Okay, let's go on a mom walk. And so I think
Yeah.
social media is like so that's what it's for.
It's a good
Some
tool.
I
Yeah,
feel
no,
like
it
it's
actually that's actually what it
transformed.
was built for, you
Yes,
guys.
exactly. I feel like it's transformed like partially negative, and it can be addicting, and some obviously like some downfalls of it, but I think like use it for what it's for. It's to connect
Mm.
people, you know? And so I would say, yeah, if not summer school,
You're
then
too kind.
no, because I do love it. I do love it. But yeah, I would say reaching out to people like via social media.
Mhm.
Look at your area, look at the photographers in your area, like, hey, like let's go to coffee, or
Mhm.
like can I get your opinion on this? And yeah, so I would say social media is a good thing in this area for sure.
Also, just on the note of communities in America, I have a group message of P&W photographers on Instagram. I also have a group message that I originally started, and no one ever knows who starts these things, but I started one in LA back in the day as well. And then I know of people who started one in Salt Lake City. So if you live in one of any of those areas and you would like me to put you in them. Like it's just an Instagram group chat. But sometimes people refer work, they ask for second
Mhm.
shooters, things like that. And that's just something that, maybe summer school it's not the right time right now, but you still just yeah, if you live in any of those three areas, let me know. And I'm sure there's little things like that everywhere. Like I said, if you want something, just start it. The Seattle group chat started from I had a Galentine's like 4 years ago when I lived back here. And so that thing just turned into an Instagram group chat. And then the LA one, I don't remember why that chat started actually, but that one started. And then there's one I think you might be in that I think Jake helped start back in the day, the like wedding chicken thing.
Yes, the
I'm not
wedding
really in that
chickens.
anymore. I don't
I'm
like
not
check it that much anymore, but
I did leave it because it was very active. And
yeah.
so I left it, and yeah, nothing bad, but it was large, quite large.
Yeah,
There's a
that
lot of
one's
people in
big
it.
and not like locally based. I think it's nice when they're locally based because you could actually go get coffee with these people and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, even
Um,
sometimes they would like say, "Well, we're gonna go meet up in LA and get coffee here."
mm,
Like, come on. So even
oh,
then, I feel like it's a good idea to
yeah,
yeah, joining a group. That's great. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not in one right now, but Yeah, it's a good idea even for me. Thank you, Summer.
I mean, you don't have to join any groups. Just for people who are looking for community, I do have access to adding you to at least 2 to 3 groups in our network. So yeah, hit me up if you want to be added to those. Outside of that, definitely DM people. I think a lot of people are really scared to DM people, and don't get me wrong, my assistant literally logged out of my Instagram the other day because she was like, Summer, it gave me anxiety. And I was like, I didn't think it was that bad, but I do DM a good bit of people. So I do understand, like, there are some people who just might not have the capacity to always respond. I do try to get back to most people, but even if I didn't, like, it's worth taking a risk to DMing whoever, because honestly, some of the loneliest people in our industry are going to be people that you might be scared to DM. Let's be real. Like, a lot of times, sometimes even your most well-known photographers are struggling with the same exact things as you. Like, I know so many people who you would assume they're booked out, they're struggling. I know so many people who you would assume they feel great about their work, they're struggling. We're all struggling with similar things. It doesn't matter the follower count, so don't be scared. Just reach out if you find that you would actually have a good relationship with that person. Like, don't be scared, you guys. I honestly loved when I had no following, because me and friends would meet up, we'd do shoots together, we'd have coffee together, and it's like, now I think someone's like, so like, they're gonna email me instead, and I'm like, guys, like, I'll still hang out with people. I think people know that about me now, but I definitely went through that phase where I was like, hey, I'm still down to chill.
Yeah, and be okay with like a no. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. Like, someone's gonna say yes eventually.
Yeah. No,
So
just take the risk.
yeah.
Man, well, this has been so fun. I'm so passionate about community. I love that. I was trying, like, not to say too much, you know what I mean? Because I was like, no, I want to hear what Alex has to say on this. But I personally, I don't know about you, but I pride myself as, at this point, I've just accepted it. Like, one of the things I just love doing in life is connecting people, which is why it's been so beautiful to build summer school, because it feels like a way I can just do that almost on a professional level.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much power in community. I want to know, for our final thought, though, something I said recently is that while I'm passionate about community, it's also been really interesting that I think community is like the buzzword of 2026, both in tech, software, our industry, literally everywhere. Everyone and their mother now has a community. And I don't think it's a bad thing, but I am intrigued by the fact that it's trending, because I don't know, it's hard because I don't know if then it will always be a good thing. Like, I think everyone's going to want to find a way to monetize it. And I know that I charge for summer school, but that is like, we're having workshops. It's in a very expensive software. We have an app. Like, there's all these things, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, it does kind of, I've been reflecting on, like, what does it actually mean for community to be trending? Could this somehow go poorly? Like, I'm excited that community is trending, but when it does get pushed into the tech side and the software side and business side, like, are we going to get drowned by almost like too much community that's not genuine? I don't know.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I feel like the only way it could go wrong is like having a community just for like your own benefit. Like, oh, I want to be friends with photographers so they can just refer me.
Yeah.
Or like, I want to do this. Like, but I mean, I know people are smart enough, wise enough to be like, you know what, like, that person's not in it for the right reasons. And I feel like people can,
I don't know if we will know.
Yeah, I'm like, we hope that you can make that decision. But yeah, I feel like I do think that's probably, it can go wrong. Oh, everything can though. Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool thing to be trending. Like, let's freaking go. Community for 2026, you guys. I think that's a cool thing that is trending in our world right now. I think you see it with like community events, in-person things happening more. I think it's like, I've said it in an episode 2 episodes ago, where I think it's because of almost, maybe not an anti-AI wave, but kind of just like, tech has gotten so good. We already went through COVID. I think people want to gather in real life. I think we're like remembering the power of in-person connections and having community and being in it. But it's interesting that it is of the level that everyone's talking about community. I'm like, oh, it'll be so interesting to see how 2026 plays out. Like, our whole industry could change, and it'll just be cool to see what happens. I would hope if community is a part of it, it'll only change for the good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna believe that.
I believe it.
I was like, I'm
At
gonna
least I
believe that.
hope.
I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
believe that right now until something changes my
Yes.
mind.
We're putting it into existence right now.
Yes.
Our industry is going to change for the good this year.
Yes.
Oh,
Amen.
man. Well, it was so good having you on. I would love if you tell everyone where they can find you, where they can look at your work. Literally anything else you would want to tell them. Just anything. And obviously, all of this will be dropped in the show notes and in the description. But for those audio only kind of people, do you want to go ahead and tell everyone, like, Instagram handle, website, anything you'd want to share with them?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm super duper active. Tried TikTok, but Instagram is at by Alex Nena, and then also TikTok is the same. So you can find me there.
Is your website similar?
Oh, website is www.byalexnena.com.
Easy. Some people have different websites and Instagram handles, so you never know these days.
Yeah, I finally made it all one because it was crazy. It was
It
just
should
too
be
much.
all one. If it's
Yeah.
not all one and you're listening, this is your business coach telling you to stop that.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's been so great having you on. I'm
Yeah,
super
good
excited
talking to
for
you.
what's to come and getting to know you more in summer school. And you guys, summer camp, hit the description, and summer school, hit it too. Go ahead and join us inside there. And I am going to catch you all very soon. See you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye, guys.